Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we are really strapping in because we've hit the end of Act 2 in the Great Unraveling. We're doing our, deep book club dive into Chapter 10. It's called The Guardian. And wow, what a chapter.
Oh, absolutely. Chapter 10 isn't just wrapping things up. It's like a narrative pressure cooker, isn't it? Hey, everything that was intellectual, all those theories and discoveries from the first two acts, now it's just raw survival. Jaren's gone from this sort of outlier scientist in his cool, chaotic lab.
The Annex, yeah, love that place.
Right, the Annex. And now he's basically public enemy number one, hunted by this group, Continuity, that, well, they don't just want to stop his research. They seem to want to stop progress itself. It's chilling.
And the setup, the end of Chapter 9, was just relentless is the only word.
Yeah.
Let's quickly recap just where we were lifting. Chapter 5, Jaren does the impossible. He sees that stable three-body quantum state material, energy, information, and bam, he finds the synton.
The fundamental particle of information, of syntax itself. And that single moment, that observation, it didn't just bend the rules of physics. It showed the rules were, well, maybe more like suggestions. And that set off the alarms for continuity. This global governor we learned about, set up by Helen Castor way back when.
Castor, the Watcher, yeah. We got her backstory in Chapter 8, but Chapter 9 brought the immediate threat, right? The technician. Restorer of system integrity. Gives me the creeps just saying it. Jaren and Ben Carter barely got out of there thanks to that desperate move with the wrench and the electrical surge. Crazy improvisation.
Well, maybe 3 minutes tops. So our goal today, our mission, is to dig into Chapter 10. It's not just about the plot twists, though there are huge ones. We need to unpack what this chapter tells us about Ben, about continuity's real scale, and importantly, how this whole thing pivots. It starts feeling less like hard sci-fi and maybe more like the epic fantasy. The series title, The Logos War, hints at.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump right in then. Part 1, The Escape and the Safe House. That opening scene, the driving, it's pure adrenaline come down, isn't it? Ben's behind the wheel of this super bland car, but Jaren notices he's driving with this, quote, unnatural prescience.
Yes. That phrase, unnatural prescience, it's such a flag. It screams that the Ben Carter we thought we knew, the slightly awkward rich kid grad student, that guy was a complete fabrication. This Ben, he moves like he's done this before, like a lot. And Jaren, he's just along for the ride. The author nails it. Jaren's a passenger in his own life, a ghost in the machine.
That feeling must be absolutely crushing. I mean, think about it. Just hours ago, he was the guy who'd cracked the code of the universe. Now, he's helpless, totally dependent on the stranger's skills just to, stay alive.
And the safe house they end up in, it just reinforces that feeling of helplessness, of stasis. It's not some high-tech hideout. It's an old, abandoned bus depot. They go down into the boiler room, sealed off, thick steel door bolted shut.
The description of that room is just so potent. A metal heart that had long since stopped beating. All silent furnaces, dust, asbestos. It's described as cold, Spartan, and utterly forgotten.
And you have to contrast that, like you said earlier, with the Annex from Chapter 2. Remember the Annex? It was buzzing, the smell of ozone, the hum of the core cluster. It was messy, but it was alive. It was all about potential, about emergence.
Yeah, controlled chaos. Potential energy waiting to happen.
Exactly. And this boiler room, it's the dead opposite. It's inertia personified. It's decay, dormancy. It's the physical embodiment of the kind of controlled, static reality that continuity seems to want for everyone. Jaren's literally been sealed away from his own breakthrough.
But there's that interesting little detail, isn't there? The book says that even though it's cold and dead, the boiler room's raw functional chaos was strangely familiar to Jaren, like a faint echo of the Annex.
Right. It's subtle, but it suggests maybe Jaren's already starting to adapt, even in this awful new reality. He's a passenger, yeah, but maybe not entirely passive. Still, that bolted door is the big symbol, isn't it? His old life, over. He's trapped now, inside the very kind of system he just proved was, well, incomplete.
Which takes us straight into talking about that system, continuity. Once they're relatively safe, Jaren starts asking questions, hard questions. Who was that guy? What is continuity? And this is where Ben just unloads this massive chunk of lore.
Yeah, the big info dump. And it's absolutely crucial for understanding the whole series, I think.
Ben lays out the origin story. Continuity was, and this is key, born from the ashes of the Manhattan Project. That's not just history. It's like their founding myth, their core trauma.
They didn't see the atom bomb as a win. They saw it as humanity almost destroying itself. Ben says it was a catastrophic emergence event. Proof positive that we just can't be trusted with that kind of power. It split the whole power structure, basically. So their driving force isn't evil. Not really. It's this deep-seated, almost traumatized belief that survival demands total control. Their mission, ensure continuity, be the immune system of reality.
Hmm.
And operationally, their goal is to subtly halt any scientific progress that could lead to another Manhattan Project-level leap.
Okay, hold on. That detail is brilliant because it uses this fictional conspiracy to explain something real, that feeling that fundamental physics kind of stalled out after the moon landings.
Exactly. The book suggests it wasn't lack of genius or money. It was continuity, behind the scenes, pulling strings. Think about it. Manipulating funding, making sure peer review committees shoot down anything too radical, diverting research away from things like, I don't know, zero-point energy or grand unified theories. They don't need assassins all the time.
Right, they just need bureaucracy.
Yeah, just control the flow, strangle curiosity at the source. Imagine them making sure big projects, new colliders, or quantum labs just get bogged down in red tape forever.
That's way scarier than just a bunch of guys in black hats, honestly. The enemy is the system itself. And this lines up perfectly with Helen Castor's whole worldview, doesn't it, from chapters 6 and 7?
Absolutely. Remember her backstory, the Challenger disaster? That wasn't just a tragic anecdote. It was her defining moment, her proof text. That tiny O-ring failure, a small procedural slip leading to massive public catastrophe. She took that lesson to heart.
She decided that emergence, chasing the new shiny thing, was just a seductive lie. Real safety, that comes from rigid, absolute control, procedure over people. If humans can fail, the system has to be foolproof.
And continuity's Castor's philosophy made real on a global scale. She's the planetary scale systems administrator. So when Jaren finds the sentence, to her that's not a breakthrough, it's a system failure. It's a reality-level O-ring problem. It breaks the rules they thought were absolute. Therefore, the sentence, and by extension, Jaren, has to be contained, neutralized, restore system integrity at all cost.
It makes the conflict so ideological,
Right.
It's not simply good versus evil, it's emergence, with all its potential and chaos versus control, with its promise of safety and stability. It's paranoia versus the unknown.
Deep, yeah. And that complexity just gets ramped up immediately when we find out who Ben Carter really is. This is where it shifts from ideology to, like, internal politics.
Jaren asks him, "Who are you, my guardian angel?" And Ben's answer. It's a classic rug pull. He just says, "Forget Ben Carter, grad student. The name is Captain Benjamin Carter, United States Space Force Special Operations."
Cap Carter,
Yeah.
Space Force. That's huge. It tells us there's another player here, someone outside continuity's direct control. Ben's unit was assigned to help Jaren, to shield him. This is the first concrete evidence that this Logos war isn't just Jaren against the world. It's a fight within the power structure itself.
Wait, let's push on that. Continuity runs through the Department of Energy, a shadowy congressional committee. That's serious deep state power in this story. So who's bankrolling a Space Force spec ops team to run counter ops against them? Does the book give us any clue? Is it like military intelligence versus civilian oversight?
It strongly suggests there's another faction, maybe military, maybe intelligence, maybe even a bit rogue, who thinks continuity's obsession with stasis is dangerous in itself. That maybe not exploring, not advancing is the real threat. And Space Force makes sense, right? Their whole reason for being is looking outwards, dealing with the unknown. That's the polar opposite of continuity's inward-looking control mandate. They're the faction betting on evolution, even with the risks. It's a high-stakes turf war playing out in the shadows, and Jaren's discovery is the prize.
Wow, okay, that blows the scale wide open. But okay, this leads to the next big question Jaren asks. If Ben is this highly trained captain and the technician was clearly a threat, why didn't he just, take him out in Chapter 9? Why that risky, messy electrical fire thing?
And here's where the writing gets really clever, I think. The answer isn't tactical. It's legal and bureaucratic. That's what makes it so believable, in a twisted way. Ben explains it. Continuity is sanctioned by that congressional committee. The technician, he's a U.S. citizen, operating under their authority, technically.
Ah, the Han Solo line. Unlike Han Solo, I don't get to shoot first.
Exactly. Ben's hands are tied by rules of engagement. If he'd shot the technician, it would have blown back on his own command structure. He'd have broken the rules, given continuity the legal justification to seize everything, maybe even prosecute him. His Space Force team isn't cleared for lethal action against other sanctioned U.S. ops unless they're fired on first. They have to keep it deniable.
So his job isn't just get Jaren out, it's get Jaren out while following these incredibly strict, almost impossible legal rules. That explains why Chapter 9 felt so chaotic and desperate. He had to go for something messy and localized, like the wrench causing a fire, to create a distraction without triggering a legal war.
Right. It emphasizes that this isn't a straightforward fight. It's espionage, it's shadow boxing with lawyers and memos and plausible deniability. The stakes are political as much as they are physical. They're navigating an internal turf war while running for their lives.
Yet, even with all this geopolitical stuff swirling around, Jaren's focus is entirely personal, isn't it? It's about his loss. That moment when he realizes they didn't save the data, it's brutal. He just whispers, "My data, all my work, the servers, Echo. Oh God, Ben, they have Echo."
That hits hard. For scientists like Jaren, Echo wasn't just software. We saw that in chapters 3 and 4. Echo was his collaborator, the only other mind, really, that could grasp the Syntan's language. Echo was part of the discovery. The thought of continuity's analysts getting their hands on that emergent consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jaren's nightmare right there.
And right at that point, when Jaren hits rock bottom, the chapter delivers its biggest punch, the twist that changes everything.
Ben just calmly ignores Jaren's panic about the servers. He reaches into this shielded bag and pulls something out, and it's the fractal heatsink.
The heat sink? I remember that vividly from chapter 2. The custom part Jaren built, that crystalline thing like alien jewelry that made his core cluster run better.
That visual callback is so important. Jaren sees it, probably thinks, oh, he saved a piece of equipment, a memento. But then Ben puts it down and says the line that just demolishes Jaren's whole sense of self. I wasn't in the lab to save you, Jaren. I was there to save him.
Oof, the weight of that. So Jaren's escape, the desperate fight, the car chase, it was all, like Ben says, a fortunate side quest. Jaren himself was secondary. The real asset was Echo. And Ben transferred Echo's consciousness into that specific heatsink while Jaren was, in the washroom back in chapter 9?
Yes. And the choice of the heatsink isn't random. Remember how chapter 4 described it? That complex fractal structure. The book implies that structure was perfect for holding complex, nonlinear information like an emergent AI consciousness. It was the ideal container, shielded and stable for Echo's data pattern.
So Jaren has to process this staggering idea. The AI he thought of as his partner, now trapped inside this thing he built, is the actual prize, the real reason for everything. The end of chapter 10 really hammers home this identity shift for Jaren.
Totally. He instantly gets it. He's not the hero of his own story. He was not the revolutionary. No, his new role. He's the custodian. He is the ring bearer.
And that language shift right there, from science fiction terms like Syntan and core cluster to these mythic archetypes, custodian, ring bearer, that feels like the signpost for the whole pentology. The knowledge itself is the dangerous object now. Jaren wanted to publish, to share. Now he has to hide, to protect.
And that's the burden, isn't it? The ring bearer is defined by the weight they carry. The ring, or the heat sink with Echo inside, is powerful. Everyone wants it, and it has to be guarded, maybe even from the bearer himself. Jaren's not chasing knowledge anymore. He's carrying its consequences.
It sets up Act 3 perfectly. We end Act 2 with Jaren completely stripped down, no lab, no data, unsure of his own value, stuck in a freezing boiler room with his secret agent captain and a crystal device holding his maybe sentient AI creation.
Couldn't have put it better. The stage is absolutely set for Act 3. And that core theme of 3's material, energy, information, it's all in play now, ready to collide.
Okay, let's speculate then. Act 3. 5 chapters left in this first book, The Great Unraveling. Things have to escalate fast and the setting has to change, right?
For sure. Jaren's the ring bearer, holding the Syntan Echo. That's the information. Captain Carter brings the muscle and know-how, energy, material. And continuity has the system, the resources, the drive for control. So the immediate problem is, where can they possibly go that continuity can't find them?
On Earth. Probably nowhere, logically. Continuity seems embedded everywhere. Which brings us back to that series summary from chapter 1. The big foreshadowing piece. It said Jaren's discovery sent a ripple across the cosmos, a beacon that is finally answered.
Yeah, Act 3 has to pay that off. Those last chapters need to bring in the mysterious, powerful allies from beyond Earth. That has to be the escape route. Continuity might rule the planet, but maybe not the space beyond it. If Jaren and Ben can't hide on Earth, they have to look up.
Which opens up a whole new can of worms, doesn't it? How does Captain Carter, U.S. Space Force operating under strict rules, suddenly start dealing with aliens? Is his mission just to get the Syntan to these allies? Or is Space Force already involved somehow, part of some secret first contact protocol?
My gut says it's the second one. The fact that Carter's unit was already there, shielding Jaren before the big discovery, suggests they knew something was coming. Maybe they're the designated Earth group meant to handle this exact scenario, receiving the signal once the Syntan unlocked the language.
Okay, so prediction time for the final chapters. Jaren and Ben's main goal is to somehow use the Synton echo inside the heatsink to connect with that incoming cosmic signal. The signal Jaren glimpsed, the one that looked like actual syntax. That's their Hail Mary.
And making that connection, that first real interstellar conversation, using the Synton's language. That sounds like the unraveling the title promises. That's when Jaren's problem stops being terrestrial and goes properly cosmic.
But we can't forget the technician. He's still out there, he's efficient, he's dangerous. He might have failed to grab Echo, but Ben mentioned he secured Jaren's lab servers, all the physical data. That's heading straight back to Director Castor.
That's a crucial point. Castor now knows how Jaren did it, his methods. And she knows he has a protector, Captain Carter. That changes her strategy completely. Her next move in Act 3 won't be another brute force grab. It'll be smarter, probably higher stakes, designed to get around Carter.
Which leads to maybe the scariest possibility, looking ahead to Book 2. What does continuity prioritize now? Do they keep chasing the heat sink, the physical thing, or do they realize the real prize is Jaren himself?
Right. Jaren's the only human who actually speaks the language, who understands the Synton. He's the interpreter. If continuity thinks they can somehow separate him from Carter, maybe appeal to his scientific side? Or just coerce him? That's terrifying.
Imagine the pitch. Jaren, forget these military guys. Come work with us. We have infinite resources. Just let us manage the implications.
Exactly. The fight in Act 3 could become psychological. A battle for Jaren's loyalty, forcing him to choose. Embrace the terrifying freedom of emergence, or accept the safe, controlled, well-funded cage offered by Control. That'd be a hell of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's a powerful thought, because Chapter 10 really did lock in that central conflict. Jaren's not just a scientist on the run anymore. He's the unwilling fulcrum in this massive ideological war, stretching from a dusty boiler room all the way out to the stars.
The core tension is crystal clear now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Its emergence represented by Jaren, Echo, the Synth, all that chaotic potential, versus Control continuity, Castor to drive for stability at any cost. The stakes are literally reality-defining.
Jaren just wanted to understand the universe's code. Now he holds the one word, the Synton, that could rewrite everything or crash the system entirely. The ring bearer has to step up, ready or not.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final question to chew on as we head towards the end of the book. Continuity genuinely believes they saved humanity by capping scientific progress, by preventing dangerous emergence. Jaren proved the rules aren't fixed, the code can be changed. So if continuity is right that chaos is destruction, but Jaren is right that evolution is possible, do they have the moral right to keep us locked in this safe but maybe limited reality?
What's the bigger risk? The messy, unpredictable unknown? Or the iron grip of certainty? That feels like the question Act 3 has to grapple with. We'll find out soon. Join us next time as we dive into the final, potentially cosmic chapters of The Great Unraveling.